Hey everyone, we're pleased to announce that this episode of the 84 Million Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Luxxfolio. Inspired by Bitcoin's success as a corporate treasury asset, the team at Luxxfolio is pioneering the Litecoin treasury strategy as the very first publicly traded Litecoin treasury company. Confident in Litecoin as a hard, scarce, and sound digital currency, Luxxfolio is proving that digital silver is now institutional grade. With a robust Litecoin balance sheet, Luxxfolio is committed to actively supporting the Litecoin ecosystem, collaborating with developers, miners, media, and others, promoting further Litecoin adoption. Luxxfolio is setting the standard for Litecoin adoption at the corporate level. Learn more at luxxfolio.com, LUXXFOLIO.com. This episode is also sponsored by LitVM, Litecoin's virtual machine. LitVM enables smart contract capabilities and Web3 applications for Litecoin. Designed for builders, LitVM features a modular ZK stack that operates on top of Litecoin and is powered by industry leaders such as Bitcoin OS, Arbitrum, Espresso, Succinct, and Caldera. Together with all the other builders in the ecosystem, LitVM is advancing the Litecoin Meta. Learn more at litvm.com. When it comes to mining, pools matter. This is why we recommend POWERPOOL. POWERPOOL is a mining pool built by miners to maximize profits. If you're mining from home or have a larger scaled operation, use POWERPOOL for the best payouts. POWERPOOL supports SHA-256, X11, Blake 2S, EagleSong, K-Heavy Hash, and of course our favorite, S-CRYPT for Litecoin, Dogecoin, Bellscoin, and others. Mining with POWERPOOL is easy with its simple user interface, and the platform has all the reporting exports that you're looking for. POWERPOOL typically charges a 1% fee, but if you use the 84 million link in the show notes, you will pay less than 1%, which is excellent. So sign up, point your machines, and start mining with POWERPOOL for lower fees and better payouts. Cheers, happy mining. Hello and welcome to the 84 Million Podcast, episode number 51. We're here with Harvin Singh. Glad to have him today. I'm going to offer him an introduction and we'll dive in. Harvin Singh is founder of Kakr Labs, a developer tool and infrastructure provider on the Litecoin blockchain, allowing enterprises to leverage blockchain and upgrade Web3. Harvin and Kakr are responsible for the PTERI wallet, I believe I'm saying that correctly, a self-custody Litecoin wallet designed for security, privacy, and decentralized authentication. Follow Harvin and Kakr at KakrCo, K-A-K-R-C-O on X. Welcome to the show, sir. Glad to have you.
Thank you for the beautiful introduction, and thank you for having me here. It's an honor and excited, and I appreciate the invitation.
Glad to have you, sir. And thank you for your flexibility. Some folks don't know this, but we were supposed to film a lot earlier today, but I wasn't feeling well. So this gentleman on the other side is very flexible. So we're glad to knock that out and it still be within the day. So before we go into maybe your story and Kakr, which is going to be the bulk of this episode, maybe we can look at recent events within the Litecoin ecosystem. And I'm not going to talk about the market. I think we've all been talking about the market. But what about just the trend towards privacy? I am curious about that. How do you see Litecoin and, of course, MWeb? And I know you're integrating that with Kakr. We'll talk more about that. But how do you see Litecoin fitting in this privacy space, which has gotten a lot of attention recently, whether it was Zcash or old school coins like Monero? How do you see Litecoin and privacy working together?
I think making privacy as an optional feature, not just by default, but as optional, it increases the value of using Litecoin as a standard payment for regular folks. And someone who wants to use a privacy-based system, it allows you to just optionally tap into. I think it's a very versatile and a unique, one of the best, I think, principles of Bitcoin. So I think privacy is not just a trend, I think it's a correction, and we all should have it.
Right. In terms of Bitcoin, they're still transparent on chain, right? So we preach that the choir. We're on a Litecoin podcast. But of course, if you're new and you haven't heard about Litecoin or MWeb, and you are curious about privacy, we do have it on Litecoin on chain, layer one. You do not have to leave the base layer to basically trust a third party or some other system to give you privacy. We actually have privacy on chain So I think it's interesting to look at privacy. I don't think the narrative is going away. I don't think it's just a kind of a recent flavor of the month sort of thing. And I think Charlie and David working towards this for a number of years before it even went live in 2022 was seeing and anticipating all of this ahead of time. So a lot of prescience on the team. I think quoting Steve McClurg, and he was on this show in the past, he recently tweeted seeing Litecoin kind of as the winner in the privacy space. And I think it is because it's this sort of sweet spot between regulation friendly, which we need to consider in first world countries for the most part, versus, a Monero that's super hardcore. We kind of get both worlds with Litecoin. And of course, we don't have any issues with the dev team migrating to other projects and et cetera, et cetera. So we digress. I appreciate your opinion on privacy. And let's talk about Kakr, maybe your background first, and then we'll go into what you built.
Sure. So my background is basically tech, and I've been building Kakr since 2022. We've been working mostly with grants. We started with Microsoft, and so our main goal is to make decentralized products like technologies. So Litecoin is a great blockchain. It's profound architecture, and it's great payment cross-border facilities just makes it an exceptional blockchain to use. So when you look at the 2.5-minute block time and its cryptographic trust backed by computational decentralization, we can solve major problems with it. Like we were able to, let's say, work on a two-factor solution based on the same. So let's say we have literally replaced email addresses with blockchain addresses. So now let's say your Litecoin address is your identity to legacy systems as a two-factor. You can also pay from the same wallet. You can have optional privacy and web. And the most important, the same narrative allows you to do AI trust for the agents. Same cryptographic trust now. Litecoin is backed by energy. It starts with energy. We use the thermodynamics and universal aspects in proof of work. So same as AI. AI starts with energy, chips, computing, models, and its applications. So trust with the proof of work makes it an amazing game changer. And I think it's more than just a payment. It's great money. We love it. And I think Litecoin could be used by everybody one day for payment, identity, privacy.
Very, very good. I want to take this from a broad view and then maybe get more specific because I'm not a developer. I don't code. I don't write. Okay. None of that. So I'm challenged with a more technical, friend on the show today. And we get these and I go with it. I get to learn something, and this is always good. And those listening can learn something, but let's take like the ultra broad view of Kakr, maybe even starting with Web3, how you would define it, and kind of take a really high view, and then we can go maybe more specifically into the tools that you built.
I would say Web3 is all about having decentralized identity, decentralized trust, and ZK proof, knowledge proof, so zero knowledge proof protocols. So let's say centralized systems have password leaks, OTPs. It's an old way to deal with compliance. But when you generate cryptographic trust, you upgrade a Web2 system, let's say Instagram, for example. There are many hacks. A few weeks ago, a lot of passwords were leaked. Now, all those two factors were secured by authenticators, biometrics, and all that could be easily, like I said, it doesn't solve a problem. Like Charlie, when he invented and created Litecoin, he made solid money that builds some permissionless trust. And same thing, and I'm sure he done multiple wonders when he made money. He made a solid blockchain. And we were able to take that narrative and solve, let's say, a whole leak. Let's say there's a pipe. If there's a leak, I will call a plumber. That means I will hire a compliance company. I will have a data officer, data hacks, data manipulation, data thefts. And I think with this, there's no leak. When there's no leak, there's nothing to fish. You have a whole new secure layer for your legacy systems. And I think this is what Web3 is about. We get rid of the centralized protocols, centralized servers, and we give the power back to the user. And I think that's the most important Web3 narrative, decentralization. Totally.
You got it. And
in
what
my
is,
opinion.
and it's good. And what are you doing maybe to start at Kakr, how you're addressing
Yes.
these things?
So we recently partnered with Google to grow and, of course, deploy the blockchain, solid Litecoin blockchain in all over the enterprise world. So we have built up an authentication layer, let's say a universal layer, all operates through our self-custody wallet. So it's a universal layer in which you will be able to do two factors. Right now, we're doing rigorous testing with our PTERI platform. So our two-factor is live and working well. Anybody can test with our wallets and on PTERI.org. So we're going to slowly partner with enterprises slowly and add this as a secondary layer with all the other existing methods in every single two-factor. But this is something we're doing optionally. Litecoin, we are pushing it as a payment infrastructure. It comes inbuilt the wallet, so you have your sovereignty. At the same time, you're controlling your identity, you're controlling your payments. I think users become more powerful. Web3 is all about empowering the community and putting the power back in their own hands by giving them all the cryptographic trust they need.
And you're entering the space specifically on Litecoin. I know that there
Yes.
are others doing this. There aren't many, but I believe this will continue to grow. You're one of the earlier ones. I know in Nashville we met initially, and that was back in 2024, so nearly 2 years. And you were up and running before we met personally. I know the Litecoin Computer, of course. Clemens has been on here. And our newest sponsor, actually, LitVM, is now entering the space. They're not launched yet, but they're getting very close. And I think it's exciting to see this happen. Our ecosystem moving from not only sound good money through Litecoin, but also technologies built on top of it, or services built on top of it, applications built on top of it, in the Web3 environment. So Litecoin is for Web3. I don't think people think that yet, but I think they will soon. What's your take on that? Like when you talk to other people and you say, "Oh, I'm offering Web3 services," what do they say? They don't say Litecoin, probably. But I'm glad you're changing that, by the way.
No. So again, I question them. I'm like, look, what problem are you solving with whatever you're doing? If you're using, so let's say if you look at Coinbase, it's the biggest exchange we know, biggest name in our industry. So if you look at their mission from when they first started 10 years ago, 13 years ago, and their mission statement is, we're gonna set up an exchange so we can sell Bitcoin to people. That was their initial mission. If you look at it now, they have built their own layer. They're doing a bunch of own things. Like they have entirely churned a brand new narrative of their own instead of a Satoshi standard. And when I saw that happening, and I was like, they're not really solving anything. Plus, their product is not computationally decentralized. Like what we are doing with Litecoin, what we could do with, like I said, a cryptographic trust, AI agent security, which is the next big wave we have to protect. Litecoin has a sound money, and I don't think nowhere even like let's even exclude the blockchain principles. Let's take the payment part of it, which we all love. They don't even. I don't think there's any match to that outside. They can take any name funded by venture capitalists. I have no interest if it's not technologically as advanced as Litecoin. I don't think they can derive a solution like this from Litecoin. And building something like Litecoin, I think, would require a lot more than what's out there. So I literally let them know that if it's not proof of work, it's not energy backed, please exclude me out of a conversation.
How would you describe, in a few words, we don't have to go on another, how would you describe
Yeah.
proof of stake?
Proof of stake, I will be just like bunch of kids holding a lot of coins, and whoever has the most coin gets to play the game first. And I think that's kind of very teenage-ish. Cannot really put trust in that hands. Whether and it has a bunch of failures. Like it's not something I think in the past. If you've seen a lot of failures, centralized option leaks, bugs, I don't think that model is scalable long term in general. Um, as you know, the Litecoin page tweeted the other day, they can't keep up because they don't have enough energy.
That's right. um, it's interesting. It's very old world too. Teenagers, I like that, but I'll also add old world. Where those that have
Yes.
the the power and the control maintain their power and control through kind of special privileges. Um, but I know you, speaking of Litecoin, you built Kakr specifically for Litecoin. You put forward, and this is from your website, that it's technically superior than Ethereum or Solana. So speaking of Web3, we typically think of Ethereum, Solana. So give me your contrast of what you're doing with Litecoin and what Litecoin can do, and the Web3 world and how it will look with Litecoin versus these other chains.
I think, like I said, if I have to send $100 in Ethereum to someone anywhere in this world, I think it's not pocket friendly, the fee and everything, and in general, I don't think it's recommendable. So I see it lacks payment utility if I compare that. Number one. Number two, it lacks the Bitcoin standard, the SHA 256 script, all that. It lacks all the OG things, the original standard, and it just purposely drives me away. Plus, it has a lot of vulnerabilities on top of it. A lot of things are derived on it. A lot of multiple parties are involved, and it just I don't think it's different than a software SaaS to me. In general, it just looks like a SaaS to me, and maybe Web 2.1 to me. Litecoin, like I said, is decentralized by design, not by nature, by design. We running we now with the same wallet which we use as a payment, we can set up cryptographic trust. We can sign off layers, and there's a lot more we can do with it. Actually, this is just the beginning. We're setting up a whole AI agentic trust from the same layer. Now we're using payments. There is optional embed privacy. I think in the future we might be able to just say, so this is in works right now, in progress. We might be able to do a KYC, which you might never have to give your data again, like how we repeatedly, do it in the legacy systems. I don't think Solana and all these things, I think they are here, but they might be a totally different narrative than what we do. We focus on being, like I said, the Web3 security and infrastructure. Like we make permissionless, ZK-proof, decentralized systems. I don't even think they're in this direction. So their focus is mostly, I think, on like stable coins, RWAs. They're mostly in the finance narrative. And we are an overall global narrative. So that I think, and like I said, Litecoin is a global provider. Let's say there's a space station out there, and we have a colony on Moon and Mars. I purposely think, I don't think Ethereum will work out there, but our ZK-proof systems working on a Litecoin blockchain can still authenticate codes from there, still give you access, still use Litecoin as the money to sending anyone. So we have to think ahead what we could do with our technology. And Litecoin is here to exist. I think the halving cycles are going to go up to year 2142 and more. We never know, but I don't know if I can say the same about Ethereum and Solana.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's the way I can separate narrative between two Web3s.
Yeah, and it's interesting that despite proof of stake feeling more democratic, it's really more centralized in many ways. Like when Ethereum was proof of work, it was more decentralized than it is now, right? There's validators and things. You can't just go mine it. It's very different than what it once was. And Solana is similar. And of course, we see all these outages, and good money shouldn't have any outages. So, of course, I believe that Litecoin is superior, but I want to hear from you, and you just gave us that, why Litecoin is superior to do Web3. Again, we're sound money, we're hard money, but we can do more on it. And I think that's, while it's not the primary purpose, it is a purpose and a function and an outlet. And I look forward to seeing it expanding in the crypto environment we live in, right? I don't think that's going away. Maybe just tell us a little bit about, you've already referenced this ZK, zero knowledge. Tell us a little bit about that, just in case someone is not aware of ZK or how that works or how you can implement it.
It's actually a little bit more technical. If you want to get into, it's like I said, so we instead of you scanning a QR on an authenticator, setting up a two-factor, you sign a message and we attach that message to the block of the Litecoin blockchain every 2.5 minutes. So now, no one can change that, temper that. So every time you make that as your cryptographic trust, all you have to do is anywhere you log in, you say, I'm going to log in via PTERI wallet. Click it, you'll get a notification on your wallet. All you have to do is just approve. You don't even have to enter the code. The blockchain sync is automatic. So there's no knowledge, there's no exchange. It's just no, it's the right owner, it's the right identity. So that's the prime example of how we're using ZK knowledge proofs on our protocols.
And hence the language proof. It's proving, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
it's transmitting that to layer one.
yes,
Correct.
yes.
Okay. So we can understand some things. Um, but but you also mentioned SaaS, which means software as a service, I believe.
Yes.
Now
Yes,
you're
yes.
doing Litecoin as a service. So tell us
Correct.
how you have, I guess, tell us what the differences are, maybe the advantages of SaaS versus, Litecoin as a service, but also the advantages. Just compare and contrast those in case anyone's enterprises are listening in that would be interested in utilizing what you have.
So Litecoin as a service is a simple tool. It's APIs of Litecoin blockchain. So you can deploy. So let's say you're Phantom or any other wallet. You want MWeb, and you don't want to go the core route. We have an API for you. Take our API. Look, so you will be able to set up. So if you want to set up Litecoin infrastructure in a wallet or as an ETF company, we will be able to give you an enterprise grade, compliance standard API on Google Cloud. So you can start making API calls. Now, the PTERI wallet is a product of LIAAS, Litecoin as a service. So all of our products you see are built on the same API. The PTERI wallet, the PTERI Explorer, PTERI Playground. We use AI also for developers and for natural language processors. So we have two interfaces we use AI in. Number one is for developers. So it's the MCP standard. It's the Model Context Protocol. So what it does is anyone can deploy Litecoin blockchain into their systems, into their technologies without using any prior knowledge of programming. So AI will automatically program it for them into their APIs and deploy itself. So you don't need any prior knowledge, or like I said, in Ethereum, you need Solidity. You need for Solana, they have their own. So we want to take down all the complex barriers and make Litecoin more easily accessible to integrate into the Web2 systems and next systems. And we have PTERI Intelligence, which is natural language processor to interact with Litecoin blockchain. Let's say you can go on it's like a chat GPT interface. You can ask it to create addresses, create an MWeb transaction, send money to a different Litecoin address, check for wallet details, everything you need to know without having any Litecoin blockchain knowledge. You can do that as well. So that's how Litecoin as a service made multiple products, and so multiple API calls can be made, multiple different variations, and that's how the products and the B2B side, they're two separate layers.
Now, your Litecoin as a service, I'm not asking who your client list is, but you've used your technology to power things that we may be using in the real world? You mentioned you were building with Google earlier. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So
So
Google is our stack.
whatever you could
Yes,
tell us
yes,
about this. Oh, it's your stack. It's powering what you're doing and you're making it
yes,
a
yes.
portrait.
We were,
You got it.
y- yes. So we run on grants, as I mentioned earlier. Our first grants were from Microsoft. We were in Azure. We were the only blockchain as a service on Azure
Mhm.
for 2.5 years. Then we migrated to IBM, and we were using their systems. And now recently we extended our partnership with Google to give them the security payment, like on payment systems, and AI agentic security. So we partnered with them especially to that we will use their stack. Like we now all the AI services I mentioned, they're powered by Gemini.
Okay.
So we use Gemini endpoints, different ones for MCPs and PTERI Intelligence. All our stack we use Google Cloud, Google services, Google virtual machines, and yes, that's there. So we make sure the compute is good, solid, so that there's real time sync, no lag, and we maintain the 100% uptime with the Litecoin blockchain.
You can do NFTs. I'm again reading this right off of, I believe, an X post. Create, encrypt Litecoin wallets, make NFTs and collections, issue tokens for any use case, create multi-sig wallets. So tell us more about, if you're interested in these things, how we can see what you're doing at Kakr to realize some of these ideas.
Yes. So we were working on OmniLite as well until, let's say, 2025, mid 2025. But I think there was no demand of really customer in it. So we scrapped the entire OmniLite chain from our narrative, and we strictly went towards the cryptographic security and payment infrastructure layer. But at some point, when we were using OmniLite, you could have made tokens. You could have even launched a stable coin. But OmniLite was not, I think, maintained well.
Mhm.
I don't think it was serviced very well. So we don't want to, build up a ecosystem that could be affected if something like that is no longer available in the near future. So we had to change the entire narrative, and that's why we scrapped off those things.
Okay, didn't
last year.
realize that. I did realize you were using OmniLite at one point. We've had guests,
Yes.
Mono and Jared, that still work with OmniLite, but it sounds like it's not being maintained.
Yes.
So that's the big
Yes,
concern. So it is available.
that
You
was-
can use it. It is still living with Litecoin,
It is.
but it's not being actively developed.
Correct. That was our. It was taking a lot of resources at some point, and it was a choice to see that you want to grow with the payment and security, or you want to still stick to this. So we had to make that hard choice when we switched. Yes, it was sad, but we had to do it.
Yeah, like I said, it's still live, but it's not as broad as it was when it came initially a few years ago. That was pre-MWeb, and I remember that
totally.
that came. I want to say in late 2021, kind of out of nowhere. We're like, whoa, tokens on Litecoin.
That's how we started. That's how we started actually in 2022.
Really? With OmniLite?
OmniLite, yes.
Wow.
Yes, that was the actually entry game, to be honest.
So tell us about Kakr 2021 versus 2026, just for fun. That sounds like a nice question.
Sure. So I wanted to always solve problems, as I mentioned. So I have a lot of artistic friends, musicians, and they were like crying on the royalties periodically, and I'm like, how much do they take? I have no idea. Why would I? And they were like,
you're talking about NFTs.
No, like general musicians
talking
just
artists
about
in the real world. Okay,
just artists in the real world. I'm like, so I'm gonna name drop some companies. So he said, okay, Spotify took 65% of my earnings. I'm like, 65,
significant.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Apple Music. He said around the same, and I'm like, that doesn't sound good. So they explained me the entire structure, and same thing, centralized. So what Litecoin inspired me is decentralization. Like, we need to cut the middleman from everything. How Litecoin access the bank and the money and everything and the custodian. I love it. So inspired from that, we wanted to build up an NFT marketplace in which your music, first of all, as an NFT, gives you the records. So now your rights are already protected. You don't need a record label. And we had a peer-to-peer payment system. So anyone who listens to your audio, you can transact in lights per second from one wallet to another. Let's say from a listener's wallet to straight to the artist's wallet directly. Let's say they were getting around 97% of full revenue, whatever they earned from this. So it was more of like a video platform. We wanted to do it both, but OmniLite, we still have the platform ready. Actually, we can power it any day with any technology if we find relevant and work on it. So that was Kakr. It started to solve major problem for artists, and then slowly we pivoted to become the payments. Like, we learned so much more about Litecoin that we were like, we can do a lot more with it. We can solve major problems, and here we are today.
Very good. Appreciate that. That's an interesting beginning. And again, even NFTs on Litecoin, it's possible. We have them. We have NFT markets. Runes changed a lot too, which is pretty cool. Runes and just the general inscriptions before runes. Actually, I think those were superior. But either way, all of this is still living on Litecoin, but we digress. I do want to get into something maybe mildly controversial, but you specifically avoid smart contracts, drive chains, and side chains. So what informs this specific positioning, and what are your concerns? And let me just say, I'm agnostic kind of the idea of drive chains. I know some are actually looking into building it out currently kind of as a bolt-on, which does not require any kind of fork. And of course, we've had Paul kind of on this show outline what this whole idea of a sidechain is, like, or drive chains, pardon me. Why do we want a drive chain in his case for it? I do think it's really interesting. I do think it deserves to be tested, but I understand it's controversial and we don't have agreement, per se on that yet. But go ahead and tell us on why smart contracts, drive chains, and side chains are not part of Kakr.
First of all, not against the idea. It's a lovely idea, but my ethics and ethos of the company relies on decentralization. So the second you add a layer or you make a layer, you increase the risk. You become a little bit more centralized. More and more you lose the base logic Litecoin layer value, and each layer will increase more risk of attacks, phishing. You're reducing the decentralization factor heavily. And that's something at Kakr, the whole company's based on. The core, like we're going to put the power back in your hands. We're not storing anything. Um, smart contract. So since we are prone to risk with these things, if they are on an external layer, a lot of bugs, a lot of trust assumptions could be introduced, and that could affect the performance, not the blockchain, but the layers that are already on top of that. And I think we strictly keep our logic off chain and use Litecoin base layer for settlement and verification, since that's our core principles we focus on. So our need to make an L2 or drive chain is not a thorough need. But if anyone is in it, they can do it. We just don't need it. That's why we don't go in that direction.
Would you support the idea of a drive chain being tested on Litecoin at any point?
Like I said, it doesn't affect the base layer at all. They are out of the base layer. So they can do whatever they want to do. As soon as they're doing the right thing, they're making sure their infrastructure is up to date. It's 100% synced with the blockchain. I think it's a great idea for those who have applications and principles of it. Totally, it's worth it.
Very good. Let's talk about the wallet. I think maybe this is the most accessible for many of our listeners because I know we all use wallets. Of course, some of us use centralized exchanges. Don't do it. You can start there, but don't end there. And then some of us have hot wallets, cold wallets, Trezors, whatever. Litecoin Core, I always say run a node. Core is good. But what have you built with PTERI? And it's definitely a lot more than a wallet. So tell us about that.
So PTERI is a wallet and a security infrastructure at the same time. Plus, if you want, it can do decentralized authentication as well, the two factors. So self-custody by default, available in iOS and Android as of now. We're going to have a web wallet coming this week. We're testing it right now. So now I think this will be the third or fourth wallet in the entire crypto world with web, iOS, and Android versions. And it has a lot more features. It's a real-time sync, full Litecoin. You can send, receive. There's optional privacy. You can enable it any second you want. We have biometric lock. We have end-to-end encryption with your backups. If you are a Google user, you can use Google Drive encrypted backup seed phrases. For Apple, we have iCloud encryption. We have 8 languages rolled out so far: English, Russian, Japanese, Spanish, Deutsch, and Arabic. And we want to extend more. As you can see in the wallet, there's a special section called authentication. So right there, as of now, we are only testing the PTERI as a two-factor layer. You can use it, but in the future, you should be able to, once we integrate more and more with enterprises, you should be able to unlock major things with it. Like it will think of that as a Google Authenticator, but a better one. No email address, so no one can look. You lose your keys, you lose your wallet. So same thing. Now we took your entire security in that narrative. Now your payments, your AI trust, your identity is all in one app. You don't need to go through multiple apps. So PTERI Wallet will empower, let's say, it could be the universal layer of internet. It could solve, so AI and blockchain go hand in hand. Blockchain, especially like Litecoin, is the currency of AI. It could help us validate what we are doing, who's doing it. So it's a profound way to check robotic identity. And that's what Terry Wallet is used for. Plus, cross-border payments is amazing. All of our team all over the globe located, right? We have people all over, and we all transact in Litecoin. We never had any issues. We strictly use our wallet now, and it's amazing. And we can also leave notes on transactions going forward. You can mark it if you want to, label it. It will stay forever. So I think wallet has, and there's a lot more things we are planning to do on the wallet. Where we talked about some decentralized, where you do KYC, some ID. We're working on certain things. You will hear about it, you too, and that will definitely give us another episode for sure.
And you are also among the other wallets. There aren't many, but it's growing. We have another MWeb supporting wallet. Am I correct?
Yes.
So
This
MWeb,
is this has MWeb inbuilt in it. Privacy, yes.
very good. So you got
Anybody can
Litecoin
opt
and
in it.
Litecoin. Yeah, Litecoin and Litecoin MWeb. So the full scale Litecoin layer 1 and extension block. This is great. It's exciting to see the usage increase. I imagine you follow some of these statistics, on the MWeb Explorer.
Yes. Yeah.
Where do you see MWeb use going?
I think it's gonna go really high. I think it's great. I personally use it for certain things, and I value privacy. Not just privacy coins, but in general, protect. We're going in the era of AI, and our data is something that we need to protect from all aspects. And I think MWeb could be a game changer in controlling. So it's not about we are hiding something. It's about having user control. I don't want them to know how much I have or how much I did. I think it's general necessity everyone deserves.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be of great use to everybody with our wallet and agentic identity.
Maybe tell us about some of the concerns about AI and identity.
Well, the major concern is we don't know who's using it, who you're talking to on the phone anymore, who you're chatting to, um, who is accessing the proof of stake server on your behalf. Could be a robot.
Mhm.
So how are we going to test that? There's no way. There's no legacy. There's no Web 2 systems. I don't think Ethereum or Solana are thinking in that direction either. But we took the initiative to make sure we live in a safe world. The only way you can test it is the 2.5-minute block time, and cryptographic sign message technology was a game changer. So with the cryptographic trust in every single AI agent, if it's a part of it, we can authenticate who's using it or not. If someone trying to impersonate you and use your agent and the signature doesn't match, the blockchain signature from the two-factor will not work, and there's no way you can hack it, you can control it, you can manipulate. There's nothing to fish on it. So I think it will be a big problem we will face with what these agents will do and how will they communicate. And so if you look at our Terry intelligence, it's an agent you're using, but it doesn't store your keys or anything. So we use a sign message technology. So it doesn't even know that there's a seed phrase or key that is part of this process. It's not even aware. So we have to because of its proof of work applications, I think we can protect the AI era with this universal layer that we have worked on.
Okay. This is interesting. AI agents, we had another guest, Aztec. He says he sees AI agents specifically using Litecoin. What other use cases do you see AI using Litecoin other than what you're doing? Maybe you can't elaborate. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. AI needs currency. Look, from going from one place to another, there are units and energy involved. AI could be also the currency that they all transact in. AI, Litecoin is great for that. You cannot use Bitcoin. Its block time is 10 minutes, and the cost, forget about it. Others are not even applicable to join this race. So this leaves the great candidate, Litecoin, that can transact among each other and enable a trust. Look, there's a 2.5-minute block time that has not been changed. It never will, and it's going to stay. So its consistency, its 100% uptime, its fee, and its utility is the one that AI observes, follows, and it knows that it's not acting weird. Look, if you look at Ethereum, if it's failing, and suppose you're using an agent protection on that, it's going to be like the behavior looks abnormal. This is not the same blockchain I'm trying to link to. So I think Litecoin's profoundness is something that will take it even ahead in the era of AI. And we will see. It will all just make sense.
Very interesting comments on that. We'll have to see. I'll take your word for it as the expert versus me. But I think these are interesting ideas, very interesting ideas. And we are in an environment of AI, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. Sometimes I question we're barreling into a direction we don't really know how it's going to look. But folks like you are considering privacy and, what's the moral foundation, for example, Litecoin versus another chain. How can we make this the best AI environment possible? And I think that's good. I think we're going to have to, because we're molding it, right? And it's being molded in real time. So your authenticator, can you compare it to something like Google or Authy? Tell us the difference, because I think a lot of us probably use a Google authenticator or Authy, or maybe we still do 2FA with our phone. Tell us why we should use PTERI versus the others, maybe with security function, things like this.
Sure. So number one, right now we all use something called OTPs, one-time passwords. So every time you're logging in something, you go to your phone and you see there's a 30-second timer and there's a 6-digit code, right? So now anyone can get access to your phone, and within those 30 seconds, copy that code, still have access to it. Number one. Number two vulnerability is it's linked to your email address. Your email address is publicly available throughout the internet. Wrong two-factor, someone have access on their phone. They log into the app, your Gmail, they have all your codes. So number two vulnerability is Web 2. It's outdated. It's centralized. Someone can take that information, sell it, use it, exploit, manipulate it. That's number one. PTERI, now think of exactly the same principles, same functionalities, but now you don't have an email address. You have a wallet address. You have a wallet address? Sure. Fund it. There's nothing you can do on it. Just fund it for me, sir. Mm-hmm. Now, we're using that. We replaced the email with the blockchain address. Now, instead of now using codes, which you can, we give you that optional choice. If you are a code guy, you can opt in for codes. So what we do is you can sign a message using up a layer. Now you secure that. Just like the Google Authenticator or Microsoft, you have a simple panel where you can see the names of the companies or the platforms you use. And every time you need to sign in, you just have to sign message once, and all you have to do next is approve from your PTERI wallet, your logins. So as soon as we partner with these companies, you'll be able to do that. So we eliminate the risk of phishing, theft, manipulation, and it's also good for businesses. They don't have to pay thousands of dollars every month in these compliance costs. Now, the data is stored in your device, just like it should be. So what we have is self-custody. Now you're responsible for that, for your authentication. No one can ever steal it from you until you give your keys away.
So is it based on a seed phrase, just like any other Litecoin wallet?
Yes. Very cool. Everything. So we give the power to your hand. Yes. Same for the AI agents. Same process. So you'll be doing all through this universal layer. So this is, I think, hack proof completely, because there's nothing leaking outside in this.
Very cool.
That makes it a little different. Yes.
I did download it on my device. I haven't used it extensively yet, but that is extremely interesting to me. The authentication. So you said there are two other crypto-based ones. One of them is Ethereum, and in terms of authenticators.
No, there's no other.
There's
this
no
is the only one.
Okay, I thought for some reason there was one on Ethereum.
No, this is actually a technology of its own kind, one of its kind.
Okay.
There's none like this out there yet.
Trailblazing, very good.
Yes, yes.
Folks, try this out. Of course, I'll put the links in the show note to your website and to the wallet. That's really cool. Maybe, well, first of all, is there anything else we didn't cover in terms of what you offer at Kakr or in the PTERI wallet before we move on? I've got a few more questions, then we'll land the plane.
All right, I think we covered everything. We offer a blockchain as a service, Litecoin as a service, the wallet, which is for everybody to use and take sovereignty, and AI infrastructure, we it's work in progress. And authentication, if anyone wants to enjoy decentralized authentication, it works with our platform right now. We're gonna start going heavy with enterprises February. So you'll be seeing more action of Terry Wallet and its authentication very soon.
I want to look at Litecoin just as the asset, the commodity, however
Yes.
you want to view it. What does Litecoin growth and adoption look like to you over the next 5 to 10 years in this AI environment, in a world that's changing, in monetary systems that could be failing in real time? I mean, we live in interesting times. So where do you see Litecoin going? And by the way, a current depression in the community regarding the price. And that's not just Bitcoin, but it's Litecoin and some others. So where do you see us going in the next 5 to 10 years in Litecoin?
I think we have this slow and steady growth, which is like, I would say we're still here, thriving and striving, and still a great payment. I don't really care about the price. I look at the long-term principles. And Litecoin has the most important principles of economics, supply and demand. I think it's limited supply of 84 million, the wonderful name you carry,
Yes.
and I think that itself is going to be a game changer. Let's talk about 8 years in, when we are, I think, 2033 halving, around that time, when 99% of Litecoins will be mined,
Yes.
and the remaining 1% over the next, let's say, 90 to 100 years. I think we will ask people questions then. that so I think it is here to stay. It has some solid economical principles, solid technological perspectives, and we are using it as to validate AI, and a great form of money, I think, that world has never seen. And this will go down in history, in the books, that there was something like this, legal, working, and it did not require anybody.
Mhm.
it so I think this is here to stay. It has all the unique principles of actual trailblazer. There's gonna be enough institutional adoption when people are gonna wake up. When I think there's a lot of narrative propaganda among the others, and that has been marketed. Which we can you can't fight propaganda. You can fight propaganda by creating a good product and being quiet about it. And with time, they're gonna run out of their VC funds one day.
Mm.
And who's gonna be there to strive? Us. And I think we are here to stay long term.
I think so too. We've proved it so far. I think of its class, Litecoin is really the only thing still standing since 2011, right? It's just going to keep
Definitely.
getting more and more compounding security, compounding use, up and to the right. In terms of institutions, what's your opinion on institutional involvement? I think probably in the original environment of Bitcoin, we were more, hey, these institutions are the problems. This is person-to-person electronic cash, which of course we have in Litecoin. But now we have institutions coming, and we have banks who are interested in it. Those are more of the established varieties. But then we have other institutions that are very friendly to Litecoin, like the digital asset treasury companies. We have Luxxfolio, they sponsor this show, and Lits, that's another one, Light Strategy. So you have other institutions that are friends to Litecoin and the Litecoin ecosystem. So what's your just take generally on where we're going with institutions, and what are your thoughts on that?
So what we are doing personally as a company to push it is we push the infrastructure, the security infrastructure side of the blockchain. Automatically, the money principles of Litecoin comes with it. So optionally, we let them know, not you just get the security, but you get a solid payment system within it. So we like to introduce this to them. Look, this has not been introduced to them. We haven't really marketed our product and our wonderful currency. So what I'm personally doing is I let them know that, this is one in a millennia solution that can solve all things in once. So why you not want to use it is my question to you. So I think we will slowly market this right organically with the right people, and its adoption will institutionally, I think, grow just because of the security factor of it and the decentralization factor of it. It will purposely separate the milk and the water, I would say.
Will you be in Amsterdam this July? Pardon me, June 22nd and 23rd.
June, Yes. And I'm going to be there.
And this will
Definitely.
be the Litecoin Summit 2026. So exciting
Yeah.
times. I think we've covered it. Before we close, any final thoughts, Harvin?
Download the PTERI wallet.
Download the PTERI wallet.
Studio for Litecoin.
Follow Harvin. Follow what he's doing on Kakr. And I appreciate you coming on, sir. We'd love to hear from you in the future. And of course, we'll be watching closely and seeing whatever else you come up with. So thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Kyle.